I love being a priest. I've been a priest for 16 years. Been 16 years, and I started off as a lowly little brand new priest, as green could be. I was a priest at Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish in La Habra back in starting in 1998. Was there for 4 years. Loved my first parish. Absolutely loved my first parish. I love the camaraderie of the priests I lived with. And it's always been a great support as being a priest, because we're not lone rangers, we don't do it ourselves. We're called to be in communion with others, we're called to be in fraternity with our brother priests. And yes, we give up family. We give up our own family in order to be in service of the larger church. But we aren't called to be alone. We're called to be very intimate with people in very respectful and very proper ways. Deepening and lasting friendships, both with priests, both with religious and with laity, and to really to see that as a way of supporting your call, supporting my call as a priest, and saying, this is truly what makes me happy. It's a challenge, and there are moments of loneliness, there's moments of sadness, moments of grief, but so does exist in married life. Being a priest isn't an escape from being married. It's an equal call to service within the church. I think when priesthood suffers, marriage suffers. When marriage suffers, priesthood suffers. I think they're intimately tied as that service of the church. But I love being a priest. There hasn't been a day that's gone by where I've woken up in the morning and said, "Oh my God, what did I do?" No, I wake up in the morning and say, God, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity to serve you. Are there tough days? Yeah. But in everything, there are tough days. But at that deep core of who you are, deep core of who I am, I know that this is what the Lord has invited me to, and one that I've hopefully responded well to in service of Him and His church. A diocesan priest is really, I think, called to be with the people. A diocesan priest is one who works in a particular location within a diocese, within a parish structure, and will be there pretty much serving for his life. For me, discerning a call to the priesthood, I looked at religious communities, but really felt the attraction towards diocesan life, because I would be with the people in an area where I grew up. And to say, how do I bring that message of God to the people of Orange County, a very diverse county, one in which we have many languages spoken, English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean being 4 of the largest language groups that we have. And being able to say that I am open to serving all of God's people, and really to say that this is where God is present, and help me to learn how to serve them as best as I can. Vocation is understanding where God is calling you to serve in your life. There's many vocations out there in the world. There, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a nurse, being a priest, being a nun. All sorts of ways in which we're called to serve the Lord, and living that out in our life is what a vocation would be. Discernment is listening to God's voice, to say, what is God calling me to do in my life? And really to take that to heart and say, am I listening well to the Lord? And is the Lord calling me to do something with my life? Be a priest, be a married person, be a person with a family. What is God calling me, and how do I listen to that voice of the Lord? It really begins with being a person of prayer. Really saying, God, let me listen to your voice, and take it to prayer. To do a lot of reading. There's a lot of discernment materials out there to help a person to see if they have the ability, have the skills, have what it takes to be a priest. Because we might feel that I have all that I want to be, and God is calling me to be a priest. But do I really have the ability to do it? because a priest becomes a public person, becomes a person who's a leader. And so I think any way in which a person can understand those values, those qualities that they have about themselves, and to see if those are compatible with ministry within the church. Because there's many different types of priests. I am the vocation director for the diocesan priesthood. So I help men discern if diocesan priesthood is really the call that they're discerning. Requirements for being a seminary, the basic requirements of entering into formation is, first of all, you have to be Catholic. You have to be Catholic and be one who's received the sacraments of the church. We receive baptism, communion, confirmation. And one who is, of course, discerning, who's listening to the voice of God. For one entering into formal seminary studies, entering into a seminary school, one must have a Bachelor of Arts degree if you are of college age or older. But one coming out of high school, of course, would go to college and receive a Bachelor of Arts and then enter into philosophy studies. So in order to enter theology, you have to have a background in philosophy, either a Bachelor of Arts in philosophy or to enter into a seminary program to receive 2 years of philosophy in order to fulfill the requirement of entering into theological studies, entering into formal seminary. The Diocese of Orange currently uses 7 different seminaries for various reasons, either language, immigration, education, knowledge, and where would a guy best fit. We use one school currently for older men who are maybe in their late 40s or even 50s, who have maybe had a full career in the world, in business or whatever, and have come to discern that possibly God is calling them to be a priest. They themselves too must have a Bachelor of Arts degree as well. And then to work on the requirements according to the PPF, which is the Program for Priestly Formation of the United States Bishops, of a certain level of philosophical requirement in order to enter theology. So even older men who have come to me and discerning the possible call would have to fulfill the philosophy requirement and then enter into a formal theology, study of theology, which usually at most seminaries that we use is about a 5-year program. 4 years of formal study and 1 year of a pastoral year to be in a parish. And the pastoral year is a real wonderful time to see if this is really what I can do and live for the rest of my life, to be a diocesan priest, to work in the diocese, and to hopefully serve as a priest in maybe 2 years later. For one coming out of high school, the process has changed over the years because there used to be high school seminary, there used to be college seminary, and then theology. The number of college seminaries are small. There's not many around anymore. For our diocese, if a young man was coming out of high school, I would invite him to have a meeting with me and to really to see if a person from high school has the maturity to be able to study well, to be a good student, but also be able to listen to the Lord. Because one coming out of high school, there's many options out there. But for one who has thought about the priesthood, how awesome is that? To say that I want to listen to that voice of the Lord, to see if possibly priesthood might be somewhere in the distant future. But really to be open to listening to that voice of the Lord, and maybe to go to a college seminary. We use Mount Angel Seminary up in Portland, Oregon, outside of Portland, Oregon, for college age guys. But a lot of guys who come out of high school continue to discern and think about it, but go to a public university to attain a Bachelor of Arts degree in something that they find interesting, something that they find fulfilling for themselves. And if at that point that discernment call to the priesthood is still there, then I would invite them to possibly enter into a pre-theology program in which they would be able then prepare to enter into theology and on the formal road to priesthood. Our guys come from many diverse backgrounds. Guys who have been doctors, guys who have been lawyers, who have been soccer players, who have been just diverse from all sorts of ways. Guys coming right out of high school as well. So the call comes at different times, which is great because God calls us all at different times. But hanging out with our guys is great. We've had I have many opportunities to get with them, either at their particular seminary school, going up and visiting and having dinner, or on the sports field, or being with them. And the big question I always get is, would I fit in as a seminarian? Are they like me? Guys are just guys who really have diverse interests, have love of music, love of sports, love of art and all sorts of things, and it's just great learning from them. I think I learn more from them than maybe they learn from me, but I'm there to guide them along the way. I'm there to be their director who's leading them to hopefully being able to answer that call and be ordained as a priest. But you have to bring your real self. So a guy who's thinking about discerning a call to the priesthood, be yourself. That's all you can do, is be yourself. Don't put on a facade, because God knows. And I'll tell you much, a vocation director will definitely be able to figure it out pretty quickly if you're not being authentic. So authenticity is a key to discernment. And the guys from the Diocese of Orange are all 37 of them this year, and hopefully to have more in the future years to come, will be normal guys in serving the people of God. Entering to the seminary is definitely a challenge. We are called to step out of the world and to enter into a formal process of discernment for the greater glory of God, for the greater glory of the church, which is a great, huge responsibility and a great, huge challenge. I know for myself, when I was in the seminary, I wasn't an A student, but I was a student. And at times I didn't know if I was a student, but to really to work hard, to really to learn as much as you can, because that's the foundation of entering into ministry, because it's a lifelong learning experience. But we have to be at that point of willing to learn. That means being open to discernment, open to formation, and to listen to your formators, because they're there to help you. They're to help you to grow, to mature, and to take on the challenge of ministry in the church, to take on the challenge of priesthood. Because when you're out there, people see you as the church. And to be able to say that I know enough to represent the church well, and I know enough to lead people to a deeper relationship with Christ. That's the ultimate goal. But the seminary is not easy. It's not meant to be easy, because through the 4 pillars of formation for a diocesan priest, that those 4 pillars, which are personal, human development, academic development, spiritual development, and pastoral development, that those 4 things need to grow and mature within you to see that, yeah, I am really called to be in service of the church as a priest. It's not easy, but it's fulfilling and very rewarding when you open yourself up to the great possibility of service in the church.